Welcome back. Welcome back. Hope you guys doing alright. This one's for the fellas. I guess also the ladies. Because it's coming from both sides of the perspective. Meaning, I was talking to this older woman. I believe she's around my age. She has kids. She's been married. I think she's divorced. Yeah, I believe she is. And we were just discussing, I always seem to end up talking to people and just regular life starts talking, regular shit. So as we start off talking about how crazy the kids are nowadays and ain't got no respect. Parents ain't, teaching the kids respect. Parents are scared of their kids and all type shit is what started it. And eventually we moved on to relationships because if your kid's not really acting correct, it's more than likely because your relationship's not correct. And, you probably don't have time to, discipline the kid, or you don't have a father to do it. Either way, it's not a good thing. As we discuss our relationships a little and, bad version of them things not working out, well, I'll let her do more of the talking. I'm starting to learn people. My gift of making people open up and talk about themselves is not always for me to say things. A lot of people just need to get shit off their chest, feel heard, feel like the conclusions I've come to, other people have come to. How you doing, man? And she was like, yeah, man, I was in a 10-year marriage or some shit like that. It was funny too, she said 10 years, because before she said that, I said most relationships just last 5 years and most marriages last 10. And she brought it up and she was like, yeah, I was married for 10 years. And she said near the 10th year, seems like men always forget to mention things. And then when they rip the mask off and you're like, oh shit, And I said, oh, I get it, you know what I mean? You think a person's this way, and then eventually they show the real side of themselves, and it's not so good anymore. Or at least it's something you're not willing to deal with because it's all coming out at once, And that's when I said, yeah, I've come to that conclusion too, with women. And I realized, as an older person, we keep having bad relationships. One, because we're choosing the wrong people. And there's nothing wrong with that. You got to give people a chance. Can't, But I said, being an older man and being through some real relationships, I realized no matter who I get with after after learning my lessons and shit, I realize you have to bring up the negotiation table. When you meet somebody, y'all like each other and all that. That is the first time and only time, well, not only, but most people want to be honest with somebody. Because when you can honestly be honest, you don't have to have that, I'm hiding shit. Will they look at me differently? When you're honest, they're going to look at you whatever way they need to look at you. But we all know the honesty about some things will push people away. Well, that means that person don't love you, because if they knew the real you, which they're going to find out, they're going to do exactly what they've always was going to do and leave you. Or if you went to the negotiation table in the beginning when they liked you and shit, and didn't know you, you can say, you can put all the things you want, all the things, your little fantasies or your sexual pleasures, the whatever the fuck it is you're hiding. And men don't believe this. They really don't believe they can be honest with a woman. And it's the most pathetic thing in the world, because it goes both ways. Women don't think they could be honest with men. And I come to find out from, experience, one, a lot of women say, oh, no, I'm not letting nobody cheat on me, my man, and dibba dibba do. You know your man cheats on you now. You just can't catch him. He just won't admit it. Period. You know, though. You know? And there's men that say the same thing. Oh, I never, and da-da-da-da. And then, you grow up, you marry somebody, you're going to lose half. You realize you can't sexually please your wife, and that, she needs to get out there and, get done what she needs done. Now, I've experienced that and couldn't believe it until I actually experienced it and said, wow, that's a different type of love, You really just gonna let your woman, And, yeah, it really is like that. And I said, how the fuck can that even be possible? Now, being older and coming to the realization of you should never get with anybody without telling the truth, being who you are, and hope they accept who you are. That way, later on, you don't have to take a mask off. That way, later on, when somebody sees you doing something or whatever, they're gonna brush that shit off because they're gonna be like, oh yeah, they did this. Oh, all right. And then everybody's wondering, why doesn't she leave him? Because she knows what he's doing. She told him he can have that one. She picked her. Get it? She picked her for him. He picked her for her. There are people that actually, they could look beyond those things. And I realized, even in relationships where people are just being totally with each other, a lot of people are not honest. We are honest to a certain extent. And I understand, fear. You don't want somebody to look at you different, You might have whatever it is. I don't know. Usually, could be a mental thing, the way you pretend you are. Could be a lot of different things. And I realized a lot of people are with good people, You just never actually got to know that person, and because they're too afraid to tell you the truth, It's the reality of life. Now, I'm not condoning cheating. I'm not condoning people go, do whatever. Because everybody's not built to do whatever. So, you do what you know, what you're capable of. Because not being honest is becoming a very hard thing to do in this new world, Eventually, even without technology, 5 to 10 years is all it takes. Eventually, you're going to do the thing you do. People see you, or whatever the case may be. Shit, men's biggest problem is the chick you cheating with tells on your ass. You know what I mean? Because you won't leave her. You won't leave your wife. So she thinks she's going to make you leave your wife, not realizing, no, you're just going to make us get a divorce, and I'm not going to marry you. Duh. You're going to get the dick. And that's it. And that's sad, It's sad to be used like that, But if that man told her from the rip, maybe she would have never believed she could replace his wife, his girlfriend, Honesty goes a long way, even in these bad situations. And that's why I believe as people get older, honesty should be more of a policy, you know. We all know everyone's going to be scared of their past. Women ain't going to want to tell how many men they've been with. Women are not going to... There's not too many women that are going to be like, yeah, I like the da-da-da-da. Well, you know what kind of man you got to get then, right? Like, women that cheat on men, and, what kind of man you think you're really going to end up with? Alpha? Nah. You're going to end up with a cuckold. An average man that understands. Good morning. I can't tame the fire that's within her. So she's going to go out there and let some other guy do it. And I'm going to take care of her. And that's good enough for me because whatever. I don't know. Just like with women, they got to face that same thing. Or leave. Everybody says they're going to leave, but y'all be staying. So, it's a strange, slippery slope we live in where people want honesty. The honesty will break you apart. Unless you're really being honest with yourself. You know what I mean? I always thought to myself, if everybody couldn't lie, who would be together? I don't know anymore. Because truth hurts. That's the beautiful thing about being an individual. You get to choose what truth you want to live in. Some people, they all keep saying the same one person and but there are people out here that are living successfully with more than one partner. There are people that occasionally go and find someone else, and these people they're good. They're not worrying about the rest of the world. They don't give a fuck about how everybody else is living. They care about their happiness, and the rest of us judge them, You're a weak man. You let your wife go out there. Dog, your wife goes out there. She just doesn't tell you, dog. She don't tell you. Your wife's out there too. Your husband's out there too. They just don't tell you. So, who's really a fool? Because they have an arrangement where she can't run around. He can't run around all day with anybody. Your secret-ass husband or wife, they're fucking as many people as they possibly can. Because there is no agreement. There is no arrangement. It's just lies. It's a fucking joke. Starting to really understand this world is really a joke. A lot of people try to force other people to live a certain way that, one, they ain't even built for it, How you going to force a person that can be with more than one person, treat these people good, make a healthy life, and responsibly stay the fuck out of everybody else's business? That person's wrong? Or the people that are stuck only with one person, can't even get another person. Even if you could, you don't have the brain power to even deal with two different brains. You don't have the emotional skills to deal with two women that are emotionally ganging up on your ass. You don't have the strength for that. You don't have the knowledge to put that shit in order. You don't. And there are some that do. Just like there are women that, she's going to have more than one man, whether you like it or not. There's always somebody out there that take care of her, It's just what it is. Anyway, I suggest some people take this method of going to the negotiation table before you start your relationship, If you didn't go to the negotiation table and totally be honest, try it. Try it at least once if you're single. The next person you're going to talk to, try to totally be honest about all your shit. And let them actually judge you for the person you actually are. You never know. You might find someone that accepts it. And then you'll actually be truly loved for who you are and not who you pretend to be. Did you ever feel that yet? Where somebody knows your flaws and says, I love you anyway. I go against the whole world for you. I don't give a fuck what they say. Yeah, it's a really good feeling when somebody says, yeah, I know that's bad about them. I don't give a fuck. That's mine. They're mine. You go worry about yours. and what you're going through, because you don't look so happy all the time. All love, all praise to the Most High.